This is a course in miracles. It is your path of enlightenment. It is your journey without distance in the space of an instant of reality. This is a required course. Only the time you take it is voluntary. Free will does not mean that you can establish the curriculum. It means only that you can elect what you want to take at a given time. This course does not aim at teaching the meaning of love, for that is beyond what can be taught. It does aim, however, at removing the blocks to the awareness of love's presence, which is your natural inheritance. The opposite of love is fear, but what is all-encompassing can have no opposite. Nothing real can be threatened. Nothing unreal exists. Herein lies the peace of God. The purpose of this workbook is to train your mind in a systematic way to a different perception of everyone and everything in the world. It is doing these exercises that will make the goal of this course possible. An untrained mind can accomplish nothing. Transfer of training in true perception does not proceed as does transfer of the training of the world. If true perception has been achieved in connection with any person, situation, or event, total transfer to everyone and everything is certain. Remember that one exception held apart from true perception makes its accomplishments anywhere impossible. The very nature of true perception is that it has no limits. It is the opposite of the way that you see now. We're glad you're still here. You managed to stick it out. We have an idea that we can bring about a miracle exchange within our minds where the realization of the magnitude of who you really are will come to you. If you missed the first hour, fundamentally what we're offering is our certainty that the concept of yourself that you hold as a human being is simply not who you are. The dilemma that you have with it is this: since you are in objective association with a body identity, you cannot not live in the illusion that other bodies represent you as separate from yourself. You then aggregate in ideas of mutual intents to establish separate self-identities. There's billions of you. I want you to see this fundamentally with me. Most of you are now. All space-time could be is a replication of eternal creation. It's an idea that you can utilize potential to reproduce ranges of consciousness that justify existence within space-time. You're very successful at it. And you get the result of your own mind, which is what? Say death. Yes. The concept of the self that you hold at this moment, you're not going to like this particular, through a decision that you have made about yourself, or better, one that you have allowed the world to make about you, are binding you in the ridiculous idea that there's actually value in the conceptual association they have with yourself. Listen, you are, as a conceptual mind, totally non-communicative. You're talking to yourself within your own dream. The people that appear to be out there are figments of your association within your own mind, placed out there to give you an identity. And they're successful at doing it because you want them to be. So you aggregate together in the particulars of the definition of yourself within a material sense of reality and believe that you are this. Okay, you listen to me now. That concept that is giving you a body identity, that association of energy form that constitutes what you think is a body, is at no single moment real at all, and you know it. And that's why you continue to attempt to hold it together within the arrangement or the formulation of yourself. Okay? This through Jesus. How is healing accomplished? I look with my mind through the power of love at the certainty that your body at any single moment is whole and perfect within the perspective of the truth of who you really are. See? That's how the miracle works, isn't it? Okay? The reassociation of your body based on the light of your own mind, the power of your own mind, the grace and love of your own mind that we are sharing assures us of the joy and happiness of a real purpose for being here, which is what? To escape our self-concept. But in the necessity to escape our self-concept, we're going to have to devalue the world in what we thought was the necessity to maintain it, to adhere to it, to justify it, to give ourselves an identity in it, with a simple admission that it's always over and gone anyway. And all of the circumstances that we formulate in evidences ourselves are actually always over. We're always kind of looking back in time, projecting it into the future, and living within that little range of consciousness. That's the concept that's beginning to change in you right here and right now. Can you see this with me? You're beginning to have an experience, all right, in the reassociation within your own mind of that certainty. Let's look together just for a moment at one of the procedures that will help you within your own mind to open a channel of light that will show you instantly a reorganization of your self-concept and therein change the world. Listen. The power of decision is my own. Listen, no one can suffer loss unless it be his own decision. No one suffers pain except his choice elects this state for him. No one can grieve, nor fear, nor think him sick unless these are the outcomes that he wants. And no one dies without his own consent. Nothing occurs but represents your wish, and nothing is omitted that you choose. Here is your world, complete in all details. Here is its whole reality to you, and it is only here that salvation is. So, what are we going to look at? The idea that you have the power within yourself to change your mind about who you are. Are you glad to hear that? Are you going to insist now that I give you the identity that you brought to me in the circumstances that we're representing to each other? Would it be all right with you if I showed you that when you came into this setting and you're watching this video now with me, maybe in the privacy of your own home, that the identity that you are holding of yourself is not really who you are, and I am within your conceptual association telling you that it's true that you are not who you thought you were. Now, you are defending yourself in your need to identify me based on the concepts of yourself that you're holding within this parameter of time. What I'm showing you is that time itself is not sequential. Are you listening? Wherever you are in this time and place is a perfect time for you to change your mind about who you are. Why? Since time is not sequential, why would you let the world predict for you the time in which you are going to be able to really step back for a moment and take a look about who you really are? The workbook of our Course in Miracles, Through the Mind of Jesus, offers us a continuing, ongoing contact with a solution, literally, not within this frame of time. And in that solution is the complete answer, here and now, at this time and place, of who we really are. So the concept of yourself that you're offering to me is being changed, okay, through your admission in a fundamental sense that you are unable to solve the problem. The moment that you admitted within your own self-concept that you didn't have the solution based on all of your determinations of previous identity, that solution was and is available to you. Perhaps that's a joy that you're experiencing right now. Okay. The identity that you have given yourself in this world in regard to who you have peopled the world with within your own imagination is not true. Can you see this with me? I had a promise with Jesus that I would do lesson 132, the workbook of a course, where it says that I'm going to loose the world from all that I thought it was so I can enjoy the freedom of being who I really am without being bound by the perspective of what the world forces on me in the bondage of my self-identity. It's a form of God dependency, dear ones. It's a form of an admission that I can't solve the problem, and that the light and love that we share will solve it for us. But just for that moment, we're going to have to step back. So let's look just for a moment at the circumstances that we're actually in. Obviously, we don't know who we are, what we're doing, or why we're here. We formulate it within our own perspective of time, justify it, and die for no reason whatsoever. Are you ready for this? There's absolutely no reason whatsoever for you to remain within this frame of time. You can know that that is true because I am in this frame of time, in a body form, telling you that it's true. I have come into this location with you now to show you there's another continuity of time going on simultaneously with this one. We call this a real world, or a quantum instant of recognition of a complete alternative in a transition that converts the dark form of light, shortens your arrangement of sequential time, and allows you to view the universe as it really is, to escape from this little hovel of dark form. Are you with me with this? Would you like to try it? I'll look at you, okay, if you let me. Will you let me? Just for a moment with a perspective of who you really are. And you see if you can tolerate it from me. Are you watching? Just for a moment, you're going to have to say, I'm going to learn, this is a healing prospect. I'm going to release my self-defenses for a moment and have an experience of union and love that's available to me in the correspondences of a single mind that we share. This is a lesson that I learned from my Savior, Jesus Christ. He said to me, I will represent your whole mind for you and the whole mind of your brother so you can recognize that we are a single self. And that single self is who you are. There is one self, and that we're sharing together at this time. Deep within you is the knowledge of what's beginning to emerge in you now as you recognize that truth. And in that recognition will be your escape from sequential time. Listen. What have you found with me? Are you listening? You found the present. To perceive truly is to be aware of all reality through the awareness of your own. But for this, no illusions can rise to meet your sight, for reality leaves no room for any error. This means that you perceive a brother only as you see him now. His past has no reality in the present, so you cannot see it. Your past reactions to him are also not there. And if it is to them that you react, you see but an image of him that you made and cherish instead of him. In your questioning of illusions, ask yourself if it's really sane to perceive what was as now. If you remember the past as you look upon your brother, you will be unable to perceive the reality that is right here and right now. Are you with me with this? I'm demonstrating to you the certainty of the continuity of the existence of us in the entirety of the situation of here and now. You keep doing that right there, and suddenly you're going to simply disappear. Why? The you that you brought into the present with me was actually already over and gone. Can you see that? You gave me a reflection of your old self. You now recognize me in your old self, and in that moment, I'm gone. By the time I get back to you at the speed of light, the old self that you were is also gone. Now we're living within an arrangement of what is already over. The notation of your recognition of the inclusive, illusionary nature of what we're offering each other in images is what a miracle is. Okay? In your past associations, you have checked the record of history, and you see that whatever you think I am, they call me a teacher of teachers, that this teacher of teacher has lived a longevity within this frame of 75 years. To any whole mind, that's entirely senseless. Why is it senseless? I'm not a body. I'm reconstructing each moment within the association of myself, my own wholeness. Is that all right with you? Too bad. You live in your illusion, I'll live in mine. I want the perspective and of an illusion of happiness and joy based on memories that I have that we shared together. You tell me that those memories of happiness and joy with our brothers and our sisters and our parents and all of the joy that we had in accomplishment is over and gone. Are you listening to me? Conceptual mind, you're dead wrong. Nothing has ever left you. Every thought you have ever had about yourself is still with you. You let it age in your own mind, so that becomes an old thought and you think of me as some old guy that you knew 60 years ago. Not true. We're always meeting each other each moment in the entirety of who we want to be in the definition of ourselves. If I project from myself as an old, decrepit, 75-year-old man, I cannot not see you as an image also within your aging process and identify you as a body. We're not bodies. Bodies are images that we use in sequential time, since we have invented time, to justify a formulation within our own mind that allows us to live in a continuity of being separate from the entirety of the universe. And it's not true. Now, okay, how you view me doesn't really concern me as much as how you begin to feel about yourself in relationship with yourself, in the simple admission that nothing is out there. Okay? The objective world that you see is there because you put it there. Okay? It's not out there and then comes back to you. Say to me, I'll see that when I believe it. Yeah. You're seeing what you believe. You're not believing what you see. That's the nature of the certainty that I have of the reversal of this cause and effect. Yes, I'll be over with you in just a second. I just want to finish up here a little bit about reading of our associations. Here's a correspondence that I want to offer to you right now that you just come into this perspective. Notice you're beginning to feel a new association within your own mind as light through your non-defensive posture of self-concepts begins to leave you. Can this be expressed to the world? It can only be expressed in the joy that you and I are discovering and communicating with each other through our minds rather than through our concepts. Listen. You consider it natural to use your past experience as the reference point from which to judge the present. Yet this is unnatural because it's delusional. When you have learned to look on everyone with no reference at all to the past, either his or yours, as you perceive it, you will be able to learn from what you see right here and now. For the past can cast no shadow to darken the present unless you are afraid of the light. And only if you are would you choose to bring the darkness with you by holding it in your mind. See it as a dark cloud that shrouds your brothers and conceals their reality from your sight. Are you listening to that? There's a perspective within you where with the dark form, you reflect back to yourself a dimness that allows you to recognize the guilt of your brother without seeing it in yourself. So he remains a perspective apparently outside of your mind. And in that cloud, which is what guilt is, you live in fear of being exposed. Can you understand what you're doing through this mind training of Course in Miracles? Will you share with me? You're allowing yourself to be exposed to light. Light being power, love, and creative reality. In a literal sense, the conceptual mind, in its own aggregation of self-identity, is afraid of the power and light of the love of God. The idea that you would fear God, that you would be in fear of your Creator, is one of the amazing, totally astounding, insane, hallucinatory ideas that are contained in the moment of separation. There's nothing to fear. That light light that's beginning to shine in you now, which somehow causes you a moment of reassociation within your own mind, is being happily accepted by you in the accumulation of a new identity that's emerging now from you in the certainty of who you are. Let's look together. When you came into this perspective within this video that you're watching with me, you brought your self-identity with you. This picture of me is offering you a new identity of yourself, since I am a reflection of your own mind. Okay? Will you say that to me now? We're going to have to wind up this first half hour. Say to me, there's nothing outside of myself. Outside of you, there's nothing. The world that you're seeing out there is simply a projection of your own mind. I'm allowing you to look at what you previously were afraid to see. See how strongly now through Jesus the recognition of the necessity for forgiveness is? If these are images of you out there in the world, and I assure you that you are, and you hold them off from yourself for fear, okay, for acts of evil that they have performed, how can you ever recognize yourself? The solution is to invite the forms that you previously rejected in your mind to come in now and share this moment of grace and love. The perspective that is occurring in your mind through the illumination of the light and love that we share has brought you to this point in space-time where you realize that God has gone with you wherever you went, because God is the mind with which you have been thinking. I'll be back in just a moment. These are 30-minute segments for television. You stay with me as we remember together that through this realization, we can say, God bless us, everyone.
This is a Course in Miracles. It is your path of enlightenment. It is your journey without distance in the space of an instant of reality.
So we're back, and we have a perspective of light that we're sharing. Some of you may have quick run out during the break to do whatever it is you're going to do, and you're coming back in, you're sitting here. What'll surprise you is it's possible for you to re-enter very rapidly into this new light association if you choose. Why is that true? Are you listening? All of it's an illusion. The idea that you could really be separate from your creator, from the whole universe, is entirely illusionary. Now, the recognition that none of it is true allows you a new perspective in the utilization of the power of your mind to change your mind about what time is for. You have invented time as an existence of association within your conceptual self, separate from the universe. If you want to look at time as the speed of light, it would be correct. The idea of space or distance cannot exceed 186,000 miles a second. In your observation of the universe, it will be very clear to you immediately that you're not going anywhere. It's going to take you millions of years at the speed of self-identity for you to go from here even to here. I'm showing you a manner, we call this quantum thinking. I'm showing you a manner of changing your mind that will and did change the continuity of time in your association with yourself. What did it let you do? It lets you come back into time to rearrange the original association of separation that will allow you instantly to emerge later on in time and show you that by not attempting to reorganize in a slow process of concept in order to justify space-time, you can escape it altogether. I remember when one of my physics buddies informed me that it would be impossible, we're looking at a black hole, which is the intensity of slow time, that if you entered into a galaxy, into a black hole, you would never be able to escape from it because you'd be back in slow time, and time is speeding up as it extends. The answer that I'm offering you is this. Would you like to hear it? The idea of entering into a black hole or a galaxy expanding from a point in space is always finally objective. Okay? The idea that you're going to go down into it is what objection is. I'm offering you the certainty that you escape from the black hole, from the density, by coming out before you went in. Do you see that? Okay. It's going back in time to speed up time so that within that frame you can recognize that you're already out. So it's important that you remember that time itself is at your disposal because it's an invention of your mind. Okay? Listen to this from the text of our Course in Miracles. Now, where's this darkness of thought? It's in you. The Christ as revealed to you now has no past, for he is changeless, and in his changelessness lies your release. For if he is as he was created, there's no guilt in him. No cloud of guilt has risen to obscure him, and he stands revealed in everyone you meet because you see him through who? Yourself. To be born again, this from Jesus, is to let the past go and look without condemnation upon the present. The cloud that obscures God's Son to you is the past, and if you would have it past and gone, you must not see it now. If you see it now in your illusion, it has not gone from you, although it is not there. What? Let's look. You brought the past with you when you came. You're living in the past. You've projected it out in front of you and are catching a view of what's already over. Okay? By the time it comes back to you, it's either further past than it was. You're actually in a recession of time. So you keep struggling with the idea of location, but it's always in a direction that's opposite to where you want to go. So you live within that continuity of sequentiality and believe that it's real. Why? You're afraid to stand still just for a moment and have a quasar experience that would show you instantly the light and love that we share together through this course and through the direction we have been given as a species. The idea of a metamorphosis or an escape within our minds from space-time, a provision that has already been performed and is being offered to you, and you exclusively through this video. Who is it that I'm concerned about within this framework of death? Only you. Why am I concerned only about you? You're the cause of it. Somewhere perhaps in your multiplicity, you believe I'm really speaking to someone beside you within this frame. You are mistaken. I'm speaking directly to you individually, this from my Savior Jesus, who is standing with you right there now, offering you the entirety of the solution in this time and in this place. Listen now to a little more about time from his course. Time can release as well as in present, depending on whose interpretation of it you use. Past, present, and future are not continuous unless you force continuity on them. You can perceive them as continuous and make them so for you, but do not be deceived and then believe that this is how it is. For to believe reality is what you would have it be according to your use for it is delusional. What would happen? You would destroy time's continuity by breaking it into past, present, and future for your own purposes. You would anticipate the future on the basis of your past experience and plan for it accordingly. Yet by doing so, you are aligning past and future and not allowing the miracle which could intervene between them to free you to be born again. In a particular sense, this from Jesus, he uses the term kata in Aramaic. It means you're off the mark. My attempts to realign you in a moment of reassociation, that discontinues your objective association within the continuity of time is what I'm presenting to you now. Look at light as vibrations of associations of power representing frequencies of electrodynamic energy. And you can see that a new harmony is possible for you within your own mind that will show you a new continuity of time that's going to make you very happy. Why will it make you happy? Because you are what happiness is. This world, this place of pain and death, is depending on you coming to know who you are. I am able to help you with this because I accepted fundamentally in my mind that there had to be a solution to this problem, not contained within my own conceptual self. In the admission I couldn't solve the problem was the entirety of the solution. And I'm offering you that moment of discovery. And it's that moment of discovery that you have found. So time was not sequential, and I've got you to be here just for a moment and go, oh, I see. What are you going to see? The now. Where are you going to be? Right here. Right here. Right now. Listen. The miracle enables you to see your brother without his past and so perceive him as born again. His errors are all past, and by perceiving him without them, you're releasing him. And since his past is yours, you share in his release. Could you hear that? Let no dark cloud out of your past obscure him from you, for truth lies only here in the present. And you will find it if you seek it there. You have looked for it where it's not, and therefore have not found it. Learn then to seek it where it is, and it will dawn on eyes that see. Your past was made in anger, and if you use it to attack the present, you will not see the freedom that the present holds. Judgment and condemnation are behind you, and unless you bring them with you, you will see that you are free of them. Look lovingly upon the present, for it holds the only things that are forever true. All healing lies within it because its continuity is real. It extends to all aspects of the sonship at the same time and thus enables them to reach each other. Are you listening? Key. The present is before time was and will be when time is no more. In it are all things that are eternal, and they are one. Their continuity is timeless, and their communication is unbroken, for they are not separated by the past. Only the past can separate, and it is nowhere. Let's share that together, should we? That's a very happy experience. What are we demonstrating to each other? Here and now. All right? The here and now that we are representing to each other is a realization that in a moment of non-defense of ourselves, we let the self that we were protecting ourselves from come back into ourself. Many of you now in this experience of joy have come to realize that you are actually attacking yourself. You were being attacked by your own mind. Remember, you are the ruler of the universe. And if you describe your universe as a containment to fear and evil, so will it be with you. Remember what Jesus said to you in the New Testament about that? He says, what you bind on earth will be bound in heaven. What an amazing idea. What an amazing idea that you can now see what he meant by that. Why? What you loose on earth will be loosed in heaven. What are we actually saying and sharing together? You are responsible for both earth and heaven. Your responsibility to earth is a recognition that you are the cause of it. Your responsibility to heaven is your recognition that your Father created you perfectly as you are. But both are contained within you. And both will represent how you feel about yourself in association with your own aggregation of thought form. Shall we practice? Say to me, I'm locked in space-time, and in order to escape along with this world, I'm going to have to give up my own attack thoughts. Say to me, the salvation of this world depends on me. Good. As I change my mind, this world will change. Okay? I'm not going to attempt to recognize within myself the definition that the world has given me about myself, very simply because it's always over and gone anyway. The particular of circumstances that I have previously let set the bounds for me are always going to be over and gone, because all of this world, all of this idea of separation was over and gone a long time ago. Everything that I see out here within this framework of time is but demonstrating to me the idea that I have about myself. Listen. The world but demonstrates an ancient truth. You will believe that others do to you exactly what you think that you did to them. But once deluded into blaming them, you will not see the cause of what they do because you want the guilt to rest on them. How childish is the petulant device you use to keep your innocence by pushing guilt outside yourself, but what? Never letting go. It is not easy to perceive the jest when all around you do your eyes behold its heavy consequences, but without their trifling cause. Without the cause do its effects seem serious and sad indeed, yet they but follow. And it is their cause that follows nothing and is but the jest itself. Can you see with me? You're holding in your idea of self-identity a moment in time that is what fear and death are. And no one in this perspective is able to laugh at the simple idea that this is not what life is. The joy that you're experiencing with me right now at this moment is a simple realization. I want you to say to me, whatever this is, it is not life. Say it. Yes. Whatever construction I have in this little frame of space-time, it's not life. It's a moment of devastation at which I forgot to laugh. Listen. No one believes there really was a time when he knew nothing of a body and could never have conceived this world as real. He would have seen at once that these ideas are one illusion, too ridiculous for anything but to be laughed away. How serious they now appear to be, and no one can remember when they would have met with laughter and with disbelief. We can remember this if we but look directly at their cause, and we will see the grounds for laughter and not a cause for fear. All right, let's look together at your situation for just a moment in the strange place that you find yourself, apparently isolated in the universe, where you look out and all you can see is billions of stars that you can never reach. A containment of yourself that is so fearful, it's afraid to allow the light of the universe, the new range of consciousness that's available to you, to come into your mind. And that's the practice that we're going to perform right now. All right? We're going to look for just a moment at what the secret to salvation is. This is the great mystery that you have been heretofore fearful to look at. And we're going to look at it together right now. Listen. The secret of salvation is but this, that you are doing this unto yourself. No matter what the form of the attack, this still is true. Whoever takes the role of enemy and of attacker, still is this the truth. Whatever seems to be the cause of any pain and suffering you feel, this is still true. For you could not react at all to figures in a dream you knew that you were dreaming. Let them be as hateful and as vicious as they may, they could have no effect on you unless you fail to recognize it is your dream and you are dreaming it within your own mind. This single lesson learned will set you free from suffering, whatever form it takes. The Holy Spirit will repeat this one inclusive lesson of deliverance until it has been learned, regardless of the form of suffering that brings you pain. Whatever hurt you bring to Him, He will make answer with this very simple truth. For this one answer takes away the cause of every form of sorrow and of pain. The form affects His answer not at all, for He would teach you but the single cause of them all. No matter what their form, and you will understand that the miracle reflects this simple statement. I have done this thing, and it is this I would undo, because salvation is a secret that I have been keeping from myself. It's a great joy for me as an illuminate self-identity, one who has recognized the only purpose I could possibly be here, and that's to offer to you the certainty of myself that I have experienced through this revelatory identity. The fundamental teachings of my Savior Jesus, who told me I had to be born again, that I needed an experience to recognize a very fundamental idea contained within our certainty of each other. And I want you to say it with me. Will you say it with me? Say to me, I'm not from here. Yeah, and you know it. Everywhere you look with all of the associations around you, you're searching for an identity. But deep within you, you know you're an alien here. Say that to me. I'm an alien here. Something's wrong. Most of you, since you were very young, knew you'd been displaced. It's as though you recognize somewhere within you that you don't belong here, and that's why you've been willing to look at this video. Because I'm assuring you within your own mind that this is not where you belong. You do not belong in this space-time. You have reached a time where we have accelerated the reference you have with yourself in regard to your ideas of sequential time, and in just a moment, and in this moment, if you choose, you're going to be in a whole new continuity of time that's going to last just for another moment. What have you learned from me? You were right when you saw that you didn't belong here. You went out into the world, you tried to find justifications for it. You were successful, perhaps, at demonstrating to the world how much you could overcome pain and loneliness, only to wind up deep within yourself, right back where you knew something was fundamentally wrong with this place. What am I doing? I'm confirming that you were right. I'm confirming that it is indeed time for you to leave this continuity of time in a bright realization that this is not where you belong. You're going to stand up and take your place with this dedication that your sole responsibility is to escape from this sequence idea of pain and death. And I'm here to assure you that you were successful, since all of time and space are really over and gone. I'm reminding you that it worked. I'm reminding you that the practice of this requirement, this Course in Miracles in the change of your mind, worked. And indeed, we have the assurity that God goes with us wherever we go, because God is the mind with which we think. We're sharing a new continuity of time where through forgiveness we recognize each other. So we may say together, God bless us, everyone. I'll be seeing you in just a minute. Thank you for these lessons in truth. We'll be together now until it's over.